Streetlights, lighting up the road to our future. But what about those hidden from its radiance? Have they forever been relegated into the shadows of negligence, never to be trotted upon, never to be the pathway to a bright future? And even when they do come, it's not all rainbows and bright lights. With 75% of India's power grid relying on fossil fuel fired power plants, with the majority powered by coal, it's no surprise that for the 10 hours all streetlights are switched on for, each singular LED streetlight on average coughs out 5.45 and 10 to the power minus 4 grams of noxious greenhouse gases. And to show how quickly this all accrues, here's a graph for reference to India's emissions. Even with the use of energy efficient LEDs, its power hungriness cannot be refuted.
Not only are streetlights enormous power guzzlers, but they disrupt the natural ecosystem around the pathway that they're installed in as well, with their massive ecological light pollution reducing some insects' population by a staggering 50%. Streetlights and the accompanying power grid extension lead to an upheaval in the underground habitat of manifold critters, displacing them forever. In fact, these LED lights emit the infamous blue light frequency that already has a vast ocean of well documented ecological effects. And guess what? All this at a sizable chunk from taxpayers. Even autonomous solar lights are ludicrously expensive, curtailing widespread implementations regardless of their merits. In the darkness of despair, we find the solution glowing right in front of our eyes. But how does this weird glow in the dark work? Phosphorescence works by observing light of shorter wavelengths and re-emitting it at a longer wavelength. The atom absorbs radiation and the excited electrons, displaying characteristics that can only be explained by quantum mechanics. To understand this further, it is essential to keep in mind that energy is transferred in discrete amounts at microscopic levels, with electrons possessing well defined energy states that it can occupy. When a high energy photon is incident on our substance, the electron is excited and usually jumps up many energy levels. The excited electron then loses its energy over a time interval. The duration of the glow is attributed to the speed of the transition. This calls for persistent phosphorescence. However, modern photoluminescent paints are an interesting case which works using this principle, which traps the excited electrons in the gap present in the lattice. The electron then releases this energy randomly, usually over a relatively long period of time.
Where streetlights, or rather the lack of them, fail, there our solution grows brightly. The solution, although not universal, has its own niches where it will significantly contribute towards the climate effort while also being economical. Our plan is to use EcoGlow to line those pathways where the power grid simply does not have connectivity to yet, thereby lighting up those unseen edges of the path at night that numerous walkers and cyclists have interviewed have confessed to giving up the eco-friendly mode of transport in the evening for, in favor of fuel guzzling vehicles and the safety that main roads provide, even if they are the longer route. This all solely driven by the fear of accidentally straying off path and sustaining injury, be it minor or steep drops on hilly paths, or even when something sinister lurks beyond. By marking the edges and making these paths safe even in total darkness, we eliminate disincentives towards growing greener. EcoGlow will even aid immensely in rural areas throughout the globe where wandering off can be potentially life-threatening. However, as I might have sprung to your mind, photoluminescence in its current relatively dim state is not a viable alternative to streetlights, but we are not recommending a substitute to streetlights, but a solution for the interim until better alternatives without the host of problems streetlights have are implemented, or in the worst case, conventional LED lights. Nevertheless, even in this worst case, widespread application of EcoGlow will free up government resources by alleviating the pressing obligations of making streets more safe. This will give them the spending freedom to make significant capital investments into clean energy, which will mitigate our initial problem of the power grid's over-reliance on fossil fuels. However, our solutions can still be implemented on all the above talked about niches, as these will never fully go away.
After extensive testing between photoluminescent tape and paint, we've come to the realization that they have their own geographical area in which they excel. Tape in dry dirt roads while paint works best in the converse. However, a major drawback is dust accumulating on top of the material and rain scattering mud on top of it. To resolve this issue, we've tried, tested, and implemented designs for barriers on top of which our material will be placed. This will ensure our markings will remain uncovered. Must be mentioned that this application of EcoGlow strongly aligns with the 9th and 13th SDG, being a testament to creative solutions that will surely inspire our global custodians. With more financing, we can expand the implementation of this idea by deploying more existing durable photoluminescent materials, which glow for longer and brighter. There's also an extremely promising research being conducted towards this end by creating substances which have significant vacancy defects so that it can trap more electrons. And so immediate development can be expected towards strengthening photoluminescence, and the scientific advancement will only bolster the application of our idea.
As we travel towards a brighter path, we must realize that it doesn't have to be lit up by streetlights alone. While the long been the conventional solution, it's evident that the environmental impact demands a reimagining of our approach. The glow of innovation beckons us from the darkness.